Hey guys, Elite Legionarii here, bringing you a 1 versus 1 village siege for Medieval 2 Total War. I will be in command of Spain, and my opponent, Sniper X Maniac, will be in command of Portugal. So very similar factions here, similar army builds. So I chose to attack because I always prefer to attack. I think I actually my opponent wanted to defend, but that's good with me because I like to attack. I quite like village and fort sieges because it allows for a lot of open action outside the cities if you want to do it, which is a lot of fun as well. Adds new dynamic to a siege, which is cool. But anyway, my force consists of 5 units of dismounted 4 units of dismounted conquistador over here, and then I think I've got 1 on each side over here. So I've got 6 units of dismounted conquistador. They have got upgrades because they've got the full armour. I believe it's 4 units of feudal knights. These guys haven't got any armour, well, they haven't got any upgrades rather, because they're just using the plain chain armour. I have 2 units of Genites. These guys are going to be used harassingly, and I'm just going to sit here and throw javelins at them basically, and I rout some of these, not rout them, but I get some nice hits on these peasants here. As you can see, I'm doing the same thing over here. I get both of his crossbows pretty lethally with these guys. They're quite capable of melee fighting, as well as javelins and things like that. So on each flank I have a unit of these javelin throwers. So I don't know how to pronounce this, like Ulmagvars or something, I'm not really sure how to say it, but they throw javelins. So I thought I'd toss them in to soften my opponents up before I attack. So on each flank there's a unit of feudal knights, conquistadors, and one of those javelin units. Same thing going on the other flank along with the cavalry. And all I'll do with these cav is I'll just pepper my opponent's units and harass them. In the front, I've also got 2 peasants for my meat shield and 4 units of Puppy's crossbowmen for my missile support, basically. And already, as you can see, I'm having a lethal effect on these peasant crossbowmen with my own guys. So his army, interesting defensive formation there. He's made a big wall of Aventuros, which is the best pike unit in the game, a very good pike unit. But he probably would have been more useful to him to invest time in more conquistadors, to be honest. But then again, if he was expecting me to bring cav, lots of it, then it would have been a good idea. So over here, I did make a bit of a blunder. I didn't defend very well against these guys, so I did lose quite a lot of these guys in a charge, as I've demonstrated before. But what I'm going to use my skirmish jab there to actually absorb a charge against my conquistadors. I can save my conquistadors, so I'll be right. So here's, looks he's got, for his 2 cav units, I believe it was 2 cav were allowed, it was 2 units of General's Bodyguard. As I said in previous videos, some of these battles were quite a while ago because I had some computer issues, so I can't really remember exactly how the rules were, but I'm pretty sure it was 2 cav max for the rules. So the rest of his force consists of, let's see, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units of Aventuros, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 dismounted conquistadors. No, it's 4 dismounted conquistadors, and he had peasant crossbowmen as well. So I'm using my Genites here just to skirmish with this heavy cav, slow them down enough to basically just get nice hits on them and maybe get my infantry into them if they get too close. And to be honest, using these Genites is really good. Light cav in Medieval 2 is very effective. It also is in Rome, but a lot of people just don't want to try that. But in Medieval 2 they're also very effective. So basically what I've decided I'll do is I'll just keep harassing them like this, and any units that get split out, like these town militia here, I'll attack them. This is obviously a meat shield, but getting rid of it before it can be used is useful. So that's what I was aiming to do there. So over here I'll just take my time with this. It's just going to be harassment with my jab cav here, but as you can see I wasn't able to protect those feudal knights very well. Now where I think they're here. As you can see, they're down to 23 just in that one charge. So you've got to be really careful to protect your infantry. So here I'm going to use my Genites to catch his general out here. Now I know my Genites will lose the fight against the General's Bodyguard in the melee, but as you can see I'm going to use my conquistadors to add support to that. However, I do get nabbed in the side by that other General's Bodyguard there, and I do lose probably half the men in that conquistador unit. So it was costly. You've got to protect them very closely, but I am going to kill that general's unit, and I'm bringing my other Genite here just to add a little extra support to the fight. But I should be able to kill these general's units. And I'm using my Genitis to absorb charges, so that way I can keep my conquistadors. And if I catch these generals bodyguard sitting still, my conquistadors and feudal knights will destroy them very quickly. But however, if I charge too much, I'll lose too many men. So he does a pretty nice job with those generals units of being a bit of a pain over here, but overall my harassments caused him to lose some really valuable units. So now he's stuck completely on the defense here. And the advantage I have, a major advantage, is my conquistadors are upgraded, his are not, which will help me. Plus I've got a lot. I don't think he's got any peasant crossbowmen left. I got rid of pretty much all of them. I think he's only got like one left. So he's got no missile defense against my missiles. He can't counter my missiles of his own. And these crossbows, not crossbows rather, these pikes will take a lot of damage from missiles because they don't have a shield. So that's why I'm using my guys to soften up his starting units here. Now I'll probably try and aim for the flanks, but it doesn't work as easily as it does in Rome Total War and Medieval 2. It's a wee bit more tricky. So this unit over here, these units that took a lot of hits from those generals bodyguards, I'm going to pull around and use them over here at this stage. But I'll keep these dudes over here because I've pretty much dealt with this cav, and as you can see I still have two of my two Genitis in reasonably okay numbers, enough to stop that cav from getting good charges. So he's reshifting his lines to match. Now he comes out here, which is an interesting move. Now he knows he probably can't just sit around and get knocked around by my arrows, but coming out like this isn't ideal either, because he's isolating himself. So he's only got 3 units here, whereas I can put down a whole lot of infantry on him, and I can still put missile fire on him, so he's isolating himself there. He would have probably been better to stay in the town centre. Now he would take missile fire, but he'd have the support of his other men, and he can use the buildings as cover from my fire. It works very well in Medieval 2 to do so. So his Aventuros come into the fight, and they'll do okay with the support of this conquistador, but my own conquistadors are more upgraded, and I got more of them here, so he will lose this fight. And while that's happening, I'm bringing my own cav around, and I'll use strikes at this open flank here. Now they are light cav, so I don't expect huge results, but it will speed up the process of routing them. So as this continues on, let's get some nice close-ups of this fight. But as you can see, my conquistadors, if you look at theirs, no lead shin guards, no arm guards, the helmet doesn't cover the full face, whereas my guys, because they've got defensive upgrades, have got a lot more armour on them, which makes them a lot tougher. Although upgrades are not quite as super effective as they were in Medieval 2 as they were in Rome. So over here, as you can see, here comes my cav. Get a nice opening on this flank here. And I get a nice charge there, although his general does come in to sort of absorb some of it. And of course, you've got to be careful with your light cav like this, because they're not really meant to be used like this way. They can be used this way, but not too extensively. But it'll help speed up the process of routing this corps. As you can see, he's losing quite a lot of men, and while this is happening, I'm still able to put down lethal missile fire on any opposition. This unit here is trying to slip around me, but I've left some of my units here, my feudal knights, in reserve, and I've left some conquistadors in reserve, and I've got these units over here that come from this side of the fight, so I've left reserves, so I can still cover my puppy's crossbowmen, and I can use them to support any other mistakes or gaps that become available. So over here I pushed forward and I put down quite a lot of fire from these javelins, although I didn't get a whole lot of damage in. But now it softens them up, and my conquistadors will make pretty short work of them, plus I will probably slip around and behind them here, which I think I was trying to do here with these feudal knights. As I said guys, this fight was a while ago because of various circumstances that slowed me down from being able to record it, so I don't remember everything exactly as it went, but I've still have a fairly good idea. So as you can see over here, I was moving to encircle and get rid of this conquistador, which does work. It starts to rout. Over here I push forward a bit, trying to catch this last conquistador before it can retreat. As you can see, there is he's going to be forced to make a steady withdrawal back to a city centre. He was guarding this area over here, but I'm not going to attack from that way at the moment. As you can see, some of his other conquistadors come in to add support. But of course mine are still a lot more upgraded, and I've got my own feudal knights adding support as well, although these units are not upgraded, but because they've got those conquistadors to support them, they'll be fine. The feudal knights are a very useful unit anyway. They're very reliable, very easy to field, very cheap, very good all round. So as you can see, a lot of his units are now starting to rout on this side, and he's forced to retreat back. This is where he proves to be a little bit more difficult, because his pikes can be used to stall while you use heavy infantry to support them. But again, I will likely just pull back. I believe I did, yes I pulled back, and I reorganised my line, and I'll just start peppering him with my puppies crossbowmen. I think he probably had a distinct lack of missile units, and that's not always a good thing, because you need them in these lower money games, because the upgrades and things can be can't necessarily be enough to add the defense against missile units. And in Medieval 2, missile units are still pretty deadly, particularly crossbows, because they're very good at armour. But it's also much harder to hit them from, if you put units like here and in these buildings, around these buildings, it's very hard to actually hit them. You will hit the building a lot with your missile fire, so that's a good way to protect against missiles if you don't have it. Also, you can stick to the woods and other various bits. Obstacles can be used more effectively in Medieval 2 that way than in Rome, in my opinion. So he obviously gives up on that defence he had over there, because that's not going to work. But I'll just continue the missile fire here just to thin him up. I'm not sure how I was going on missiles at this stage, but these crossbowmen are just excellent. They're super strong defensively. Hubby's crossbowmen can just take a mighty beating from just about anything except like a cav charge. But they can just, any missile units usually, unless it's muskets or other crossbows, or the English or French longbows which have the armour-piercing traits, they will beat any other bow in a missile fight, because they're just so defensively inclined. It's very hard to dislodge them unless you've got some very high quality armour-piercing bows, or muskets, which are obviously armour-piercing. So I'm going to come in here and organise myself into formations. I'll put some in the front and then keep them organised. I want to keep cohesion here, because that works best. And I'm also going to come from this side, although I'm a wee bit disorganised on this side after the fight, and I don't know if I organise myself quite as well over here, but that's not really a big deal. I think I just charge in like a madman here on this side. But over here, as you can see, I'm reorganising my lines. I've got my general there in the front, although I probably should have put him in the middle row, just so that he'd be safe. But it doesn't really matter if you lose your general in Medieval 2. Out of all the Total War games, losing the general is probably the least big deal in Medieval 2, to be honest. In Rome, it's not really a big deal either, unless you're a barbarian faction, of course, where the morale's quite a bit better than that. So his pikes will do a pretty good job of keeping me out here, but what I'm going to do is I always keep tactical reserves if I can. So that way, if I commit everything at first, so half of them won't get any work and they'll just get tired standing around doing that. But if you hold them back, they won't get exhausted trying to push their way in. And you just leave tactical reserves and you can make your way forward. Now, I was trying to hit around this area here and perhaps slip in here, just to speed it up, but it's easy going my way. As I said, my conquistadors are very well upgraded, and I did kill his general just then. And as I've said in other videos, you really can't go wrong with conquistadors. They're extremely powerful, and they do deserve the title of best individual unit in Medieval 2. There are some good contenders to the title, like Venetian Heavy Infantry, and a few other ones, but definitely conquistadors are the best, but there are some that are close. So, and that's why Portugal is just, pretty much the same as Spain. It's got pretty much the same unit roster, but mine have got more upgrades, so they're doing a lot better. I'd always prefer to upgrade my conquistadors, at least with the defence upgrades, because it makes them have more stickability in the fight, and they've got 22 defence as is, so if you add a little bit more, it just helps. And they're really good. And the thing with Medieval 2 is, although Spain is the best faction, the weaker factions are not so vastly inferior to Spain that it can't combat them, whereas in, say, like Rome Total War, the Julii is just absolutely leagues and leagues above the likes of Spain, which is the weakest faction, and it has no show. But in Medieval 2, where Spain is the best faction, some of the weaker factions, although will struggle against Spain, it's much more evenly balanced, and they can still actually win without having to be an absolute genius at using units. Like, it's not like in Rome, you had to be pretty excellent player to get Spain to beat the Julii. So anyway, at this stage, things are looking pretty good for me. I'm starting to sort of even close the gap into the area here, and I still have Finland missile fire coming in. So it's going quite well. I did think about going around the other side to the flank. Actually, I did go around the other side to the flank, I did think about doing it with my missile units, but I just didn't really think it would make a big deal of difference because the angle wouldn't be that good and I'd probably hit these two buildings like I was talking about earlier, so you don't really need to do that. So at this stage, the counter for winning started to come down. So it's nearly over at this stage. If you look at the stats, I've lost only 36%, whereas he's lost 97%. So I did have a drastically better infantry corps than him, and that really made a big difference in this fight. The only part where his army shined, in my opinion, was when he did this bit of a mess out here, but with his two generals units, which was a bit tricky to deal with at first. But once that was over, it was really over. So at this stage, it's basically over now, guys. It was a very good game, though. He was a really good sport about it, and he missed defeat at this stage. But it was actually a really good game, and it's always good to fight people who are good sports about it, you know. So I had probably about 200 more men than him, but I only lost a third of what he lost. He lost 964. I got 900 kills and 57 captures, and as you can see, pretty much probably only about 300 men of my army died. So yeah, he killed 365, so not many. So statistically, my dismounted conquistadors, very high kills, 112, 61, 94. Only a couple of them really took much damage, really. Dismounted feudal knights, didn't really get much action, really, to be honest. Just that one that got charged took a bit of damage, but it did end up making up for it at the end. And this one must be the one that got charged because it lost a lot of casualties and didn't get any inflicted, actually. So they didn't really see a lot of action, but they were there for extra support and it proved useful. As you can see, these Pubby's crossbowmen, all of them except one got over 50, and that's pretty effective, and that's against those pikes. There's very little defence against them. The Janetes, look at that, one of them got 115, another one got 36. Now, it's pretty excellent for light cavalry. They are very useful. A lot of people don't see the effectiveness, and even these light javelins, they got 40 as well. So some of those other units, people call them crap, but not always true. You just got to know how to use them. It's a wee bit more. You don't treat them like big heavy cavalry or big heavy infantry. You treat them sort of skirmishy and sort of niggling kind of tactics and screening tactics, and they can be very, very deadly that way. So anyway, good game to Sniper X Maniac. I enjoyed it. Hope you guys also enjoyed it, and I thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon next time.